everybody, I miss you guys so much, but the power is back on and I'm here again with another recap of 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After. This week was crazy, y'all. So y'all know I don't like to do intros in my recaps. I just like to get right to the recap, but there was so much that went on this week. I just have to do a little bit of explanation. So this week I was like super behind on work, my grading, my schoolwork, like all this stuff. And so I was like, okay, Thursday comes. I was like, I'm gonna film this afternoon when I get home from class. I'm gonna upload on Friday. Perfect Friday treat. So I go to class. Class is from like 12:40 to 2:40. So I go to class. The sun is shining like it's beautiful outside. It's hella hot, of course, but it was just so pretty. And then by the time I got out of class around 3 o'clock, we were walking out of the room and the lights start flickering. I was like, what's going on? And I look at the window. It is black outside, like total darkness, like night almost. And I go to the window and it is literally raining every which away, like left, right, up, down. I was like, are y'all for real right now? The mother of all mother of storms blew through on Thursday afternoon, knocked my power out. I did not get power until today, Saturday. So yeah, I have been slumming it, but I'm happy that the power's back on and I was able to film this recap and edit it in time for the episode Sunday night. So yeah, oh gosh, y'all, it has been a crazy week, but thank you guys so much for hanging in there. So this was just a little recap for those of you who may not have seen my video that I posted yesterday. Explaining where the heck I've been. I know some of you have been just concerned for my safety, but y'all know I wouldn't leave you hanging, not on an episode like this. So enough of that. Let's get right into this recap. So let's just start off with Pedro and Chantel. So Pedro and Chantel have already been back from the vacay, and she informed Pedro last week that her family wants to do an investigation on his family in the DR because they think his mom is running some kind of marriage ring or some kind of scamming situation going on to harvest the American dollar. Of course, true to form, the family Chantel rolls up at this investigator's office in 2 cars. Of course, River is riding with Chantel in the front seat like they're a couple. You guys, this relationship is strange. Okay, I know a lot of people are like, oh, River is just, you know, Chantel's little brother and he loves her and he looks up to her. I will be with you, but if you don't follow Chantel on Instagram, you need to go follow her because sometimes she posts videos that are strange. River filmed Chantel doing things and he's like gushing over her like it's his girl. It's real strange. I mean, it's a little bit more than just a brother-sister relationship in my opinion, but you guys watch and let me know what you think. But anyway, so the family Chantel rolls up at this investigator's office and y'all, I'm telling you, the experts on 90 Day Fiance are like where do they find these people? I think like the legit like lawyers and investigators and PIs and stuff don't want to be on this garbage show. So they're like, no thanks. And so that leaves all the kooks. This lady, y'all, she had blonde to pink to red hair that faded toward the back. It was like a taper cut, kind of like Kate Gosselin circa 2010. Short in the back, long in the front. It was sprayed, hairspray to all hell. Her hair didn't move. And I have a rule, y'all. I don't trust a white lady whose hair doesn't move. I'm sorry, but your hair should move. I mean, it just should. You white. Like, your hair should have movement. If I see a white lady and her hair is hairsprayed solid, I immediately don't trust you. So this lady was clearly, I don't want to call her a scammer, but she was just really trying to get them to buy her services, and she was going to do it by any means necessary. So they get in there and they basically tell her the gist of what's going on, and Chantel is a little wary. She basically says that she just went to see what they was talking about and that she's not really sure if she wants to do it, but if she feels like it needs to be done, then she would, but she was just trying to go see. And so they tell the investigator lady what's going on with Pedro and how they think that his family is running a marriage ring, and this lady just starts talking about all kind of foolishness and craziness. She was just trying to instill fear in them so that they would sell her something, so that they would use her, so that they would, of course, give her money. I did not trust her at all. She seemed like a liar. She seemed like a kook. She started bringing up irrelevant stuff like, does he have a lock on his phone? And Chantel's like, yeah, he has a lock on his phone. And then River jumps in and is like, Chantel, that's crazy. I don't think he should have a lock on his phone. What's he trying to hide? Like, please, everybody has a lock on their phone. Who doesn't have a lock on their phone? Who does not need their fingerprint in 2018 to open their phone? Who does not need a key, a PIN code or something to unlock their phone? That's so that if somebody steals your phone, they can't just access it immediately to all your pictures and stuff. Everybody has a lock on their phone. Like, lady, what are you talking about? So this lady was like really trying to sell it. I didn't trust her. She seemed like a kook. And then, you know, Chantel started to feel some type of way about the whole situation because she starts to kind of back out. She doesn't want anything to do with it. She says it doesn't feel right. And she's like, I don't know if I want to do this. And so the investigator's like, well, even if you say you don't want to do it, your parents can still pay me. I'm like, dang, this lady really wants her money. Like, she was not kidding. Like, she really wanted to get paid. She was going to get that money by any means necessary. And the family Chantel is stupid enough to give it to her. Now, there's one thing that I want to kind of address with the family Chantel. And y'all know I think they're not too bright. I think the dad's a robot. Chantel is, you know, cute and sweet, but not the brightest, you know, bulb in the box. And the thing with them keep bringing up this whole stupid Americans thing. You know, intelligent people don't have to defend their intelligence. They just are intelligent. You just are. And if somebody says something about you or tries to infer or imply that you're not intelligent, most intelligent people either laugh it off, ignore it, or whatever. I have a crazy aunt, y'all. I mean, she's certified, like, for real. And she is always, like, whenever she's telling a story, she always has to throw in there, they think I'm crazy, but I ain't crazy. No, you're crazy. Like, people who are a certain thing always feel the need to defend that because they know that they are deep down and they feel insecure about it when people call them out on it. So when this lady called them stupid Americans, they know deep down that they're not the brightest. So they feel like they need to do everything in the world to defend their intelligence. I'm like, don't stop saying that we ain't stupid. We ain't stupid. You think we stupid Americans? Well, we gonna show you that we not. Why do you need to prove it? Just be intelligent Americans and nobody's gonna call you stupid. It's the fact that you're acting stupid. That's why people are calling you stupid. And that's why you feel offended all the time and feel the need to defend that. So family Chantal, I think they know deep down, and they you know, a hit dog always hollers. They keep feeling this need to keep readdressing this whole stupid Americans thing. I'm like, forget what she said, just be you. Like, call me stupid. Okay, I know I'm not stupid. I'm laughing, like, whatever. I'm not stupid. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, enough of that. Let's fast forward. Of course, we know that little sister Nicole is coming from the DR to visit Chantel and Pedro for a couple weeks. So Chantel and Pedro bought this couch. Y'all saw them last week. They were shopping for a couch, so they did buy one. Apparently the couch cost $1,000, and I'm like, that seems a little high for me for a couch. But they bought this sectional. They thought it wasn't gonna fit in their little studio apartment, but it did fit. And it was real cute, actually. They were, you know, Chantel was trying to talk them into getting another TV, and I'm like, girl, y'all can afford nothing else. Sit down. Just sit down on your couch and watch Pedro play video games. The couch is real cute. It looks nice in there. So they got the couch specifically for Nicole to sleep on. That supposedly was the purpose. I mean, I think they just get a couch for your living room, but they wanted her to have somewhere to sleep and not on the kitchen counter. So they got a couch. Fine. Great. Good job. And so they go pick her up from the airport. Chantel's being real friendly. Pedro goes and gets her. He brings her flowers. They have a little balloon. It was real cute in the car. Riding back, Chantel called her some name, I don't know, that meant sister-in-law. She seemed real happy. Everything was good till we get back to the house and little Nicole finds out she got to sleep on that sofa. And she like, I know like sofa. I know like, no. I'm like, hold up, Nicole got a new grill. Like, what's going on with your mouth, sweetie? Who's paying for these braces? Because I don't know, did she have braces last season? I don't remember that, but I'm sure the money that Pedro's sending home is paying for those braces. All the cute, sweet niceness goes out the window. Chantel is livid, and rightfully so. She spent all this money on this couch for this girl to sleep on, and this girl coming here talking about she no like, and I'm like, well, you gon' like, you better lay down on this couch and shut up talking to me for these 2 weeks. Chantel is like, no, we got you a sleeping bag, a blanket, and a pillow. This couch is very comfortable. It's very nice. I don't know where else you think you're gonna sleep. Like, this is it. Like, Nicole, this is the apartment. What you see is it. It's a little bitty closet that we call in the bedroom in the back. But this is it, baby. So I don't know where Nicole thought she was going to sleep. I don't know why this wasn't discussed between Pedro and Nicole before she even came over here. Like, hey, we bought the couch. You're going to be sleeping on it for 2 weeks. Like, how was this not brought up? But of course, when a man is planning things, we know that several things fall through the cracks as far as details go. So I don't know why Nicole didn't ask where she was going to be sleeping. I know that she probably knows that their apartment is small, because I think they've said it before when they were in the DR. They said that they live in a small apartment because Chantel and her family was mad that his grandma had a 3-bedroom apartment and they only had a teeny tiny one. So she knows their apartment is small before she came. And yet she thought she was going to be sleeping where? I don't know where Nicole thought she was going to sleep. I'm the type of person who, I'm country, so I'll pretty much lay my head anywhere. I mean, if people are putting me up for free, I'm not going to complain. Wherever they want to let me lay my head, I'm fine. Just give me something to cover up with. I'm good to go. I'm not picky, but she seems to be very spoiled. I mean, clearly, Pedro's been sending her money every month. She's spoiled. Her mama probably spoils her. She gets whatever she wants. And she was not having it with the couch. I think it was real rude and real disrespectful. I mean, these people, first of all, Pedro has bought your ticket. You have not paid a dime since you landed here. We pick you up from the airport. We bought your ticket. You come here, you don't have to pay for a hotel, and we're gladly putting you up in our house for 2 weeks. And you know I don't like you, and then here you come talking about a couch. So Pedro and Chantel go out into the little walkway outside to have the conversation, because of course there's nowhere to go argue in that little bitty apartment. And it just gets more and more heated. Nicole is cackling like a cuckoo crazy lady. Chantel is just going off on her like, bitch, you gonna sleep on the sofa, like no question. Take your sleeping bag and your blanket and lay down. Good night. They start really going at it, like just arguing. Chantel's not having it. Nicole is just laughing every time she tells Pedro something. I mean, Chantel was just going off. Pedro suggests that they buy an inflatable mattress for her to sleep on. And Chantel's like, we already spent $1,000 for this couch for her to sleep on. Now we're about to spend some more money on it, on a air mattress for her to sleep on. Like, okay, that's fine. If you want to take your money and go buy an air mattress, then that's fine. But make sure you had that rent. And I was like, but she wasn't wrong. Like, I wasn't even mad at her. I mean, a lot of people were saying that Chantel was wrong. I'm like, no, you putting somebody up in your house for free, you're not asking them for nothing. They haven't paid to even fly there. They better lay their behind down on that couch and not say nothing else to me for the next 2 weeks. You ought to be smiling. You ought to get in my car happy. You ought to have a good attitude every morning when you wake up. You ought to be in a good mood every time I want to drive you somewhere around the city to take you to look at something. You ought to be happy-go-lucky for the next 2 weeks. I'd have bought your ticket to come down here and gave you a place to lay your head for free. And you gonna tell me something about you don't want to sleep on a couch? That was new and nice. It wasn't like, I could see if it was one of them old ratty sofas with the springs popping through. The couch was brand new. I didn't see the problem. Nicole should have just slept on the couch. But no, she had to be a spoiled brat and act disrespectful. And now the little visit is already ruined. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where they're going to sleep. I don't know how they're going to resolve this. It left it hanging with them arguing in the parking lot or something, child. I don't know. But that's enough for them. Let's move on to the next couple. Alright, so next we're going to fly through David and Annie real quick, because we didn't see a lot of them this week. Basically, we only saw Annie. Annie goes to the Buddhist temple to pray for David's balls. She is going to meet her friend Tuk Tuk. Her name was Tuck, but I like Tuk Tuk better, so I'm going to call her Tuk Tuk. She goes to meet her friend Tuk Tuk and to pray for her situation and her family, because she says that in the Buddhist culture and in most religious cultures, when things aren't going good, you take it to the Lord. After, you know, she prays, and her and Tuck sit down and they have a discussion about David and how he's not getting a job. And Tuck was basically a real good sounding board. I don't know, you know, TLC does the whole fake friends thing. I don't know if Tuck is really Annie's friend, but she seemed sincere and I liked her. But she basically was saying, you know, why doesn't David have a job? Girl, your guess is as good as ours and Annie's. Don't nobody know. And it's just saying like, oh, he wants to have a real big high-paying job and he doesn't want to flip burgers. And Tuck's like, okay, it ain't nothing in between he can do. Like, so it's only big job and flipping burgers. That's it. Like, those are your two options, and you don't want to flip burgers and you can't get hired at the big time job. And Tuck's like, he's not being realistic. Like, why doesn't he just get something that he can, you know, have where he's had some kind of income at least for a little while, and then work his way up to the higher position? And that's what we all been saying. David don't want no job. I'm telling y'all, David is not fooling me. David knows how to get a job. He doesn't want to get one. So Annie is all distraught and upset, honey, because she basically knows that she is screwed. I told y'all, I've said it before and I will say it again. I don't know why Annie came over here. Annie should have stayed where she was, coming over here to try to have a better life in America. America is a hot mess. If anybody from across the ocean in any direction is watching me right now, listen to me. Do not, and I repeat, do not marry some who knows who American man trying to get over here to get a, listen, it's foolishness over here. We got mass shootings every other day. Our president want to be space ghost coast to coast. It's a mess. Just stay where you are. Do the best you can. I mean, if you're a refugee in some war-torn country, I understand. Like, yeah, I'm not trying to downplay anybody's struggle. But if you're watching YouTube right now, if you have internet access, your life is probably not that terrible. And you can probably make it work wherever you are. Okay? So just stay. Don't you get online and start dating no fool trying to come over here. Stay where you are. Annie needs to go back home. I'm telling you, Annie. Why didn't she take that money from Chris? She should have took that money from Chris, those 10 G's, and went on back home. I would have been on the first thing, smoking back to Thailand. That's what Annie needs to do. You cannot hitch your wagon up to David. David not taking you nowhere, but to brokenness and despair. You can't even have a baby. You want to have a baby with somebody who had a vasectomy. Like, girl, no. Like, who you thought was going to pay for the vasectomy reversal? Chris, you thought he was going to pay for that too? That was all part of y'all plan, wasn't it? Real cute. You thought Chris was going to pay? You thought you was going to live in LA and be luxuriating with Nikki? You thought Chris was going to be paying for y'all to somewhere to stay? You thought Chris was going to pay for that vasectomy reversal too, huh? That was all what David told you, I bet. And you brought your silly self over here. Your simple behind. Annie, go home. That's all I got to say about these two. I'm done. Let me stop before I get upset. Because I'm really just tired of these people trying to come over here talking about they want a better life. Girl, you was happy. You was with your family. You could have found you a nice little Thai man and had a whole mess of kids and had a happy life over there. But here you are in Louisville looking like a fool with this idiot. I'm done with them. Let's move on to the next couple. All right, so third is Russ and Paola, and I'm going to fly right through them real quick too. This episode, Russ and Paola are still acting and their storyline is still fake, and I'm over it. So Paola drags Russ out to dinner with her old photographer friend, Gio, I think his name was. And he's talking about he wants to do this photo spread, this calendar of Colombian women. And it's going to be real artistic and real sexy and real sensual. And Russ is still, you know, clutching his pearls because he's all Oklahoma white bread, unseasoned chicken. Paola wants to do it, and the guy's talking about doing body paint, naked, whatever, because that's all Paola does is naked pictures. I don't know why we're surprised at this point that Paola wants to do another naked photo shoot. That's all Paola does. Paola does naked photo shoots. I mean, we've established that. Somehow, you know, Paola convinces Russ that it's cool and he's going to come with to support her. So when Paola's there already getting her hair and makeup done, somehow Russ and Paola don't, this is all staged. I'm telling you, y'all, it was just really staged. If Russ was going to go to the photo shoot with Paola, why wouldn't they go together? So Paola gets there first by herself so that Juan can show up and have a conversation with her. So Juan comes. She doesn't want to give her this relationship with Juan. I honestly don't even care anymore. Whatever. Be friends with him. Who cares? And so they have a discussion and she tells Juan that, you know, Russ is coming, and he's like, oh, well, I don't want to see him, so I'm about to dip. So Juan leaves right at the exact same time that Russ arrives with Paola's parents. Big shock. I mean, what are the odds of them walking in and out at the exact same moment? Juan walks up to Paola's parents and they're all huggy kissy and they love him and whatever, Kiki, and Russ is standing there with his arms folded, squinting with his Justin Bieber bangs, and I'm just over it. Whatever. Juan and Russ will never like each other. He's mad because the parents like him. Who cares? Anyway, fast forward to the photo shoot. Jesus. So we fast forward to the photo shoot, and you know, Paola gets her body paint put on, and this is how I know that this was like a backwoods set up ridiculous type photo shoot, because the body paint was like, I mean, it was like Crayola finger paint. First of all, it looked like something that kindergartners paint pictures with in class. I have seen like model body paint, like when they paint models, and it literally looks like they're wearing clothes. Like y'all ever seen those videos where the models walk up down the street with body paint on and people don't know that they're not wearing clothes? This body paint looks so ratchet and raggedy. The word Columbia written across her chest looked like I wrote it, and I'm not an artistic person. I mean, the most I can draw is a stick figure. It was so ratchet and raggedy looking. It looked like somebody who's right-handed drew it with their left hand. The paint colors were dull. They didn't look vibrant. The photo shoot was ratchet. It looked like something that a photographer who takes pictures and then photoshops people's heads on it to say, oh, I got naked pictures of so and so. He looked like, it looked scamish. I mean, I'm not saying that he's a scammer, but it did not look artistic and beautiful and tastefully done. It looked ratchet and raggedy. And then her parents were there, which was weird to me. Why is your dad there when you don't have a shirt on? I don't care if you do have body paint on, I can see your nipples, pal. And your dad's there. Like, that was weird, first of all. Second of all, the mom is like covering up the dad's eyes with her purse the whole time. I'm like, why come and then cover his eyes? Go home. Why is he there? And he looked like he was enjoying it way too much, y'all. It was all just too weird. So then after the photo shoot's over, Russ is so excited, he runs and puts the shirt on Pal, and that's it for them. I don't even know why I spent that much time talking about them. I'm so over them. Can we remove them from the show, please? Next. Alright, so next is George and Anfisa. Alright, so this week with George and Anfisa, George finally admitted, y'all, that he lied. That was so good. George admitted that he lied to Anfisa about him and Lourdes going to the divorce lawyers, and he basically says that he lies in the moment because he doesn't want Anfisa to be mad, which we already knew. George is a punk, and he can't own up to the stuff that he does, so he lies. Now, I feel for Anfisa because I don't think it's right that George lies, but in that little therapy session, Anfisa wasn't being completely honest. Let's just unpack this briefly. Anfisa goes and visits the therapist by herself, and she starts to really open up. And I really appreciated Anfisa opening up because, you know, we really don't know anything about her. She's the ice princess. We really don't know. She doesn't really have a personality, so I feel like I don't really know her. So she basically told her story about how her dad died when she was like 9 or 10, and her mom was basically chasing after Dick and didn't care about her, so her grandma raised her. And so I feel like she always had this dream of having a really good life, and so that was probably when the dreams of being a gold digger started. And so, and yes, she is a gold digger. She's telling this sad story about how her and George used to be happy, and now, you know, George is manipulative and he controls her and he threatens her and does these things to her. But my thing is, they're both the same person. Like, I don't understand why Anfisa is trying to play the victim, which George lying is wrong, but Anfisa's not necessarily a victim, because let's go back to when we first met Anfisa, when she was cutting George's phone off, changing his passwords where he couldn't even use his phone or log into any of his accounts. She keyed his car. She would scream at him if he left her for 5 minutes. Like, Anfisa is crazy. Now, I know all of y'all are screaming team Anfisa, but Anfisa's fooling y'all right now. Let's not forget who Anfisa really is. Okay, I know the real her. She is a fool too, just in a different way. Now, she was never dishonest with George, but she is a little cuckoo. So then the therapist is asking her all these questions, and she starts talking about how George is basically using the information that he told at the tell-all to manipulate Anfisa into not leaving him, which is a crappy thing to do. I agree. You should not try to use somebody's past or what they're doing or what you're speculating that they're doing, which I think she has done it or is currently doing. I'm not really sure which. But to manipulate somebody or to threaten to leak her pictures or videos if she doesn't do what you want, that's crappy. Like, George, if George is doing that, then that's wrong. But at the same time, I feel like Anfisa keeps tiptoeing around it. Like, don't give anybody any ammunition to have anything against you. Girl, tell your truth. I would tell it. If I'm doing the webcam videos, I would tell it, because once I tell it, now nobody has any control over me. If I just tell my truth, you can't control me with somebody I already told. So if I get up there and say, yeah, I did the webcam videos when I was 19 or 20 or a few years ago because I didn't have no other way of getting money. That was my grind. I had to do what I had to do and just own it, or just admit to it and say, yeah, I do it from time to time because that's how I get money, because he lied to me and told me he had money and he doesn't. So I was like, okay, I got to get it how I live. Now, does he have anything to manipulate you with? No. Now you're free. So George can't control you anymore. So I'm just tired of Anfisa tiptoeing around the whole webcam thing. I wish she would just tell it. Own your truth, girl. Tell the truth. And that way George has nothing to manipulate you with. People can't control you if they don't have nothing on you. Oh, you gonna tell? Well, I already told. So now what? So I don't feel like Anfisa was being completely honest. The therapist asked her what were George's good qualities. She couldn't even name one because she doesn't like George. She liked the money. I'm telling you, none of this will be going on if George actually had the funds that he said he had. If George was actually a millionaire currently, and they were still traipsing around Europe and taking trips and buying her bags and purses and shoes, they would not be having these problems. She never liked George. She never liked George's personality. She liked the money and the status and the life that George brought her. That was it. That was her reason for being with him. And now these problems have arisen because he turned out to not be what he said he was. She is waiting out her time. She's trying to stay with him because number one, she's on TV and she can potentially make money from the show on TLC. Number two, she's waiting her time to where she can become a permanent citizen and leave George and go probably find some other man on her own. That's all this is. I don't. That's the only reason I can think that Anfisa's still with George. Anfisa doesn't like George. Clearly. She couldn't even name one good quality. And you can't tell me that it's just because he's a liar and she's mad at him. Because I don't know no woman who loves a man. A man can cheat on you. He can have a baby on you. He can dot your eye. He can do a lot of things. But if you truly love that man and somebody sat there and said, name me something that's good about him, you're going to name something off the bat. Because that's your man and you love him no matter what crazy thing he's done. George is not the man for Anfisa. Anfisa doesn't like George. So that's why she couldn't name a good quality about him, because she don't really care about him like that. She liked the money. She couldn't say the money because that sounds bad. So she sat there and tried to think of something. She couldn't even think of nothing because she don't like that man. She's waiting out the time where she can go on without him. She tried to become a U.S. citizen. But that was pretty much it for those two. So let's move on to the last two couples. Drama. So next is Molly and Luis. So last episode we left off with Luis blasting his music and locking himself up in the guest bedroom. And so Molly finally got the key or the screwdriver, whatever that was, to open the door. So she opens the door and Luis is looking crazy and she's like, Luis, turn that music off. And so Luis is threatening to call the police and Molly is worried about him calling the police. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I don't know why Molly was so worried about Luis calling the police. I mean, maybe she just didn't want the police coming to her house. Maybe she has nosy neighbors, but she seemed real concerned with the police being called. Now, I know that Molly has some drinking and driving issues because apparently she doesn't have a license or she's not supposed to be driving. And so maybe that was why she didn't want the police to come. I'm not really sure. But, yeah, she really didn't want Luis to call the police. So Luis is on the phone. I don't think Luis actually called the police because just how he was talking, he was answering weird questions. It didn't sound like he had actually called the police. So I think he was bluffing. But he was talking and saying weird stuff. And so Molly busts in the door like a linebacker. I was like, yes, girl, get him. So she manhandles Luis and pushes him down on the bed and is like, you're not calling the police, dude. You got to get your stuff and go. And so she was just done with it. She said she was about to snap about 20 times and she finally did. So I was so happy when she lined up and just bulldozed Luis onto that bed. I was like, yes, girl, do it, Molly. Luis just won't leave. I mean, it was really, really hard to watch. And so finally, Molly just gets Kinsley and she packs her little bag and she has to flee her own home. And can I tell you that Molly fled her home like a straight G? Molly fled her home like a pimp, like Huggy Bear or something. I mean, she was so fly and smooth when she left the home. Molly was like, let's ride out, Kinsley. We about to go. And I was just really hurt and upset that Molly had to leave her house. Like, she literally had to flee her home and leave some creep dude that she brought in there. I mean, she did bring it on herself, but still, I hate to see any woman have to leave their home that's theirs and leave him in there, because I'm like, what if he steals something? I don't know him like that. I'm not leaving him in my home with my stuff. I don't know what he packed up. I don't know if he got his stuff mixed up with my stuff. No, I'm about to watch you pack this bag and I'm about to watch you walk out this door. Like, I'm not leaving you in my home unattended. No. But she did. And so a few days later, she calls Jess and just to see if he's still there. Jess confirms that he has left. So she goes back home to assess the damage. She goes up in that guest bedroom and it was a mess and stuff was strewn around and he still left some of his stuff, which I don't even understand. Molly was walking around like she was reminiscing over good times, rubbing on his shirt and stuff. I'm like, girl, you sad? You miss him? She looked sad to me. I guess, I don't know if she missed him. I think she was just sad that it ended like it did. But I would have been like, good riddance. I would have danced on that t-shirt. But that's just me. She calls him, I guess, to just see where he is. I don't know why Molly called him. I don't want nothing else to do with Luis. But she calls him. He acts like a jerk on the phone, talking crazy, and then hangs up on her. So that was pointless. I don't know why she called him in the first place. So now Molly has decided that she needs to go see a lawyer and talk about divorcing Luis because this relationship is over. Finally, girl, it took you long enough to realize it. We saw it about 6 months ago. She goes to see this lawyer, and once again, I'm telling you, the lawyers and the experts on 90 Day Fiance just keep getting weirder and weirder. And so she goes and sees, y'all remember when they had that OJ show with Cuba Gooding Jr. and David Schwimmer and John Travolta? Y'all remember when John Travolta played OJ's lawyer? That's who this dude looked like to me. He literally looked like John Travolta as O.J. Simpson's lawyer. Not Robert Kardashian, the other one, the older guy. That's who this dude looked like. I mean, he had a helmet for hair and just eyes that just looked right into your soul. He really creeped me out a little bit. But anyway, so he was basically just taking notes and giving Molly advice, and Molly was saying that, you know, he was asking her questions like, is his name in anything? And thank God Molly was smart enough to not put Luis's name on nothing. She basically just brought him there, but his name's not on the house. His name, he doesn't have any cars in his name, no building, nothing. So I was like, oh, thank God. Molly was smart enough to at least know to do that, to not put Luis's name in anything. But it's looking like next episode that Molly might be on the hook for Luis for those 10 years. So if she sponsored him as an immigrant to come here, then she might be on the hook for his care or making sure that he doesn't get into any trouble for 10 years. So, oh, that doesn't look too good for Molly. But thank God Molly has finally seen the light and put Luis out, and seems like she wants to move on, and I'm happy for her. So let's move on to the last couple. So last, of course, is my favorite girl in the world, May, and her mama Nicole, and Azan too. May and Nicole finally arrived in Morocco. Child, they look distraught and disheveled. They look tired. They've been traveling for about 23.5 hours. And May just looks worn down, broke down, tired. Nicole looks exhausted. They just look like they've been through it. I don't know what happened on the plane, but they look like they've been through the most. So they land, and Azan is there to pick Nicole up. And Azan, honey, is laying it on thick. Let me tell y'all. He was being so sweet. I ain't never seen Azan that sweet to Nicole. He was like, honey, I'm so happy to see you. Oh, here's May. Oh, he was like, yes, I'm just so happy. And so Nicole is just, you know, of course, he's trying to erase her memory of those phone recordings that we heard. I see what you're doing, Azan. You're not fooling me. They get there. Of course, he picks up May. I feel like Azan is like nicer to May than he is Nicole, which is weird to me. I know that there's the laws that they can't show affection in public because they're not married, but still, it's weird how he is with May, and he doesn't really know her for real. So of course Nicole starts with the calling him daddy. Who is that? You know, daddy. And May's like, daddy. And Nicole's like, oh, you want to give him a kiss? And I'm like, let's not start doing stuff like that. Like, because to me that ingrains in May's mind that, oh, I'm supposed to kiss men. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I didn't like that. But of course Nicole can't kiss Azan, so I guess Nicole said, well, somebody gonna kiss Azan if I can't kiss him, so May, you kiss him. Azan says that he surprised her with this little trip to the Blue City, so they're not going to his hometown first. So they all pile in the backseat of this car, May in her car seat and Azan in the middle and Nicole, and they squished up, and then they fall asleep. I don't know how long the ride was, but they were asleep, and you know, he used Nicole's big ham hock shoulder as a pillow at one point. It was real cute. And so they get to the city. Of course, they get to the hotel. They cannot share a room because of the Muslim laws. So they have to get 2 rooms. I don't know who paid for these 2 rooms. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, Nicole already had to pay for all them bags to get over here. Her money was $200 short this month. So I don't know how they paid for these rooms with Azan not having a job. Maybe one of Azan's other girlfriends paid for the room. Maybe that's what it was. So they get their rooms and they're talking in the hallway, and it was real awkward. The energy was weird. Azan was trying to get out of there quick, fast, and in her before Nicole asked for a hug or a kiss or anything like that. And so, you know, she seemed a little bit calmer. She still wasn't happy about splitting up in the rooms, but she seemed a little bit calmer than she was the first time. She threw a full-on fit. And so, you know, Azan scurries across the hall real quick and shuts the door and locks it probably so she won't tiptoe across in the night. And then the next day they go out to this little restaurant for lunch. Of course, May has her iPad to distract her so she won't be sliding all up under the tables. And so Nicole just goes in, and I was like, yes, girl, get him. And so she was like, I know you was being all sweet at the airport, but I ain't forgot about those phone recordings. So what was up with that? Like, what's going on? He was like telling the same lie again, saying it was just a joke. And she was like, well, how did you get the girls' numbers? And he's like, oh, social media, it's not hard to get people's numbers. And his answers was just real vague and generic. And Nicole was just basically saying like, well, we got to plan a wedding and we got to work on our relationship, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Who cares? And so then Azan gets to sit in his interview, and the producers are asking him questions about, you know, what he did to Nicole and their voice recordings. And Azan couldn't even hold a straight face. Azan in there giggling and sniggling, talking about it ain't funny. And then he just busts out laughing. I'm like, he couldn't even tell the lie with a straight face. That's how you know he lying. He's in there laughing his little head off at the fact that he's lying to his fiance about the phone recordings. And you know, if Nicole can't see that this man don't want her, there's no hope for her. I mean, I just don't understand how he can just say, oh, we were drunk and the phone, and I called some girl. Like, really? Like, that's the story that he gonna tell, and that's the story you gonna believe. That's the story that we going with. Okay. Well, all right then. We'll see how this wedding planning go. But y'all know she ain't gonna stay over there. Azan is figuring out a way right now to try to get her back over to America. He is trying to figure out what he can do, if he can break her heart, if he can make her mad so she'll leave. I don't know what he's trying to do, but he's planning something, and I'm waiting to see this plot play out. But that was it for this episode. So we'll see what happens with these couples next week or tomorrow when we watch the new episode. So thank you guys so much for hanging in there with another recap. As always, if you'd like to follow me on Twitter and watch my live tweets during the show, at Nikki P Tweets, NICHI_P_tweets. Thank you guys. Thanks to all my new subscribers. Welcome. Thanks to all my old subscribers. What's up, y'all? And I just really appreciate all of you for just following me so faithfully and watching me every week. Our discussions and your comments make watching the show so much better and so much fun. And I hope that watching these recaps make watching the show so much better and so much fun. But yeah, so thanks again, guys. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.